Okay, for the next fidget spinner I'm going to review, I think I'm just going to grab this one over here that's been sitting here for a little bit. This is another Zentri Nano, but this is the tungsten version. I've reviewed, I think, two Zentri Nanos before. I think I did the copper and the steel versions, but now I have the tungsten version, and it's really heavy. This is my first tungsten spinner, so I'm looking for big things from this one. It comes up with a little, probably fake leather pouch. Might be real leather, I don't know. I don't think so. Anyway, for a little chemistry lesson, I got a copy of the periodic table here off the internet. And the tungsten, which is symbolized by a W, has an atomic mass of 183.85, which makes it, and copper has a atomic mass of 63.546. So the tungsten is almost 3 times as heavy as the copper. Just for comparison, here's gold. Gold is a little bit heavier at 196 something. And here's lead over here, even a little bit heavier still at 207. Big loser, aluminum, it's down here at 26. So you got the ones that these fidget spinners are commonly made out of. You got aluminum here at 26, titanium a little bit heavier at 47 something, iron, which is what steel is made of, so of course, so that's at 55, and copper, which is the one I always buy, at 63. But this tungsten is a lot heavier. It'd probably be pretty cool to make one of these out of gold, but if you got about 100 grams of gold to make one of these things, it would probably cost over $100,000. So we can't do that. Can't make them out of lead because it's toxic and it would probably be illegal. Here's mercury at 200. Can't use that because that's liquid. So anyway, this is about the heaviest thing you're going to really realistically be able to make fidget spinners out of. So I'm looking for big things from this. I've already said before in other videos that this thing really does feel nice. It's a really cool spinner. So I pretty much know everything about it that I need to know about it, except how the weight affects the spin. This one also, I looked on the website, it has a 10-ball ceramic hybrid bearing in it. And I'm not sure what that's going to do. So, time to test this one out and see what happens with it. So I got a chart of the the actual weights of metals, not the atomic mass that I was looking at before, and apparently I was wrong about something. The tungsten is actually about twice as heavy as copper, not 3 times like I said before. I think everything else I said was accurate, just based on atomic mass, not actual weight. So how did this thing do? First off, I had a little adventure with this one. They put a ceramic bearing in here, and it didn't do very well. It's a ceramic hybrid bearing, actually. First time I ran it, it got about 7-something minutes, and then after that it fell to 4 minutes, and it was obviously, the bearing was very noisy. It was obviously, the bearing was toasted. So either I toasted it, or it was just not a good bearing to begin with. I have a feeling I just got a bad bearing, because it was not doing very well right from the beginning. So I did like I've done plenty of times before. I put one of these 10-ball stainless steel bearings in here, which tend to spin pretty long, and I based everything off of that. So this is not, what I'm saying after this is not based on how it comes from the manufacturer, but on my modification. I put a little stainless steel bearing in it. That said, it got a spin time of average spin time of 10 minutes and 1 second, which is really long for something this size. So it did a very good job on spin time. The extra weight played out very well, and we got a really long spin time. How heavy is it? It's 126 grams. For something this size, 126 grams is very heavy. So and it feels that way in your hand. It feels like something that you really have to hold on to so it doesn't fall down. It's a little bit, you throw it and it resists. It resists the force you put on it. But it's really fun to play with. There's something really satisfying about having something this small and heavy in your hand. It's fun to play with. I would definitely recommend it. It got an overall score of 8.15, and that's mostly because it was the spin times did vary quite a bit. Got a mean variability of 50 seconds, so that lost almost a whole point on that. The copper one had actually gotten a little bit higher score, and because it was a little bit less variable. And because, this obviously spun a lot longer than the copper one, but I have a maximum score of 10 for the speed, which they get if they get over 7 minutes. So the extra 3 minutes of spin time didn't really increase its score very much, but that's definitely something to point out. I'd say this is a very good one to get. It's got the same feel and quality as the other Zentri Nanos. It's just extra heavy. The other thing I should mention about this one is that they put the bearing, they modified this so that it has a press fit bearing. So the bearing's not the easiest thing in the world to change. The other ones have a screwed in bearing, a bearing cap that screws in over them, and you can change it pretty easily. But this one here it's a pressed bearing. So that makes the bearing a little bit harder to change, but it's still doable. So there you have it, Zentri Nano in tungsten.